Okay, so today I have Jakob, my friend and colleague from the university. So we work at the same university, and I figured today we could talk about why anybody would want or should want to study at the university if you want to or are a programmer, if you want to become a programmer, or if you want to pursue that career. So let's start like this, from your perspective. Why did you decide to study at university? Super general question.
Okay, so I think I decided to study at the university because I think in modern society you kind of need a university degree in order to get a good job.
Right.
So I just wanted to get my chances as high as I could to get a good job.
So, but that sounds like for the paper thing, right? To get it on.
Exactly.
Do you mean from like as the degree makes a difference, or the skills that come with the degree makes a difference?
I mean, first of all, the thing on the paper makes a difference,
right? Because
you need the thing on the paper, you know, for a good job to even consider you.
Right. So there's that sort of initial vetting process, and if you don't have the degree, you might, for a lot of jobs, fall out just because you're not sort of getting through that first vetting process.
Yeah. So maybe, actually, if I can correct myself.
Yeah, you should.
I don't think you need a university degree in order to get a good job. You just need good skills.
Yep.
But it helps if you have something on paper.
Yep.
It helps you to get the interview.
Yep. Right. So it's a shortcut.
Of course.
It's a shortcut.
Yeah.
So is it equal to work experience? Like, could you do the same thing with work experience?
Yeah, I guess so. But of course, it's not just about the paperwork. It's not just about having something to prove that you have done a degree. It's just, I mean, it's also very helpful for you to learn all the stuff from the ground.
Right.
Because of course you can do it yourself.
Yep.
But in my opinion, having done the bachelor and master degree, I think it's I think it's been really helpful for me.
Good stuff, makes a lot of sense. So sorry, we should have started in that end. So we studied information systems, and you studied too, like information systems as a bachelor, and then did a master's in information systems, right?
Yeah.
Let's be specific like this. So thinking about university, thinking specifically about programming, what do you think are sort of the important aspects that university has brought to your skills of programming? Again, like you were saying to me before, that it's difficult to assess what university has given to you, because since you did university, you have nothing to compare with, right? Because you haven't tried the other alternative. But if you're assuming, what would you assume are the things that you wouldn't bring with you if you wouldn't have gone to university?
I think for me personally, I find it helpful to have someone to guide you in the beginning when you're like kind of lost in the jungle of programming. You don't know where to begin. You don't know what's a good difficulty level for you at that point. So when you get that guidance from
someone,
university, then you kind of get an easier start, I think.
So like finding the right challenges.
I think so.
It's like finding challenges at an appropriate level and sort of identifying the terrain that is, let's say, big quotation marks, important. Right, like the terrain that you sort of should, quotation marks, cover.
Yeah, right? I'm a bit afraid that if I would do it myself, I would just focus on the stuff I think is most fun.
Good point. Yep.
And
good point.
You know, maybe I wouldn't care so much about learning about algorithms. I would just start off doing something like creating a website, just doing. I don't know what I would do, but but I think it's really a point doing it in the right order from the beginning, learning the right stuff.
So like applying some rigor.
Yeah, and like, I would never in my life, by myself, organized my own little course in algorithmics or something like that. You know, learning recursion in the right way.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a good point.
So I think it's, it's the stuff you don't really, when you're doing it in university, you don't maybe see it as, oh, I'm really gonna need this. But then you realize, oh shit, this is really good.
Actually, very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even say recursion, you find the recursion is when you find yourself in scenarios where you're programming, then you would say recursion is, for example, useful, or for example, recursion you find useful.
Yeah, of course. And there's also stuff like in my master's.
Yep.
In a very early stage of my master's, we studied Prolog.
Yep.
Which is a logic programming language.
Yep.
Where you have to really understand recursion and things like that. And
right, and pattern matching.
And by I would never have gotten any interest of that programming language.
Right.
If it wasn't for, you know, that I had to do the course.
Yep.
So
but in retrospect, then what's the value of having learned Prolog? Right? Like, I mean, because if it's, or is it like a purely theoretical exercise, or is it actually like, yeah, but even if you want to be purely pragmatic and like practical, would you still gain from learning Prolog?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think you know, I would never have gone through that by myself if it wasn't for that course.
Yep.
But I feel it really gave me challenges that I feel is very useful today, because, you know, it's all about learning general programming. It's not about learning a specific, you know, C#.
Yep.
It's not about learning a specific language. It's about learning the whole way of thinking
of programming. Right. Yeah. Okay. So it seems what you're saying is that university can help you to elevate the level at which you think about programming. So instead of thinking about the specific tools and the specific languages, you instead start to think about, or in the level of, let's say, concepts or abstract ideas. Maybe like, I mean, even if you're not doing functional programming, you can bring concepts of functional programming into object-oriented programming.
Yeah.
Right? Like that kind of sense. So like, if you're talking about Prolog, then you can, when learning Prolog, you can bring concepts from Prolog into other programming languages.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
And I also want to bring up that throughout my, you know, bachelor's and master's degree, you know, it was information systems. So this is like social science.
Yep.
So like when I was doing the bachelor and master's, I actually didn't think I wanted to become a programmer at all.
Right.
I didn't think that was my thing.
Right.
Because I didn't maybe have a very high confidence in programming.
Yep.
But, you know, it just kept me struggling.
Yep.
And, you know, I wanted to pass the test. I wanted to get high degrees.
Right.
So it kept me like staying up all night. And then I found that it actually paid off. And then I realized, oh, maybe I'm good at this.
Yep.
So
good
that's
stuff.
Something I wouldn't have done otherwise.
Right. So is it fair to say that, again, like going back to the point about university challenging you in sort of the quotation marks right ways, so if you would do it at, say, a company instead, if you're either self-taught or if you're at a company, then you're, of course, if you're a motivated person, you would be motivated to keep going and keep producing valuable, say, programs or valuable software. But at the end of the day, it would have to do with profitability, right? Like your company has to be profitable. You have to produce things that are, well, profitable for the company, right? Has some kind of value. But whereas in university, it would be specifically tailored toward your learning experience.
Exactly.
Not perhaps individually tailored, right? But anyways, like it's tailored towards your learning.
We probably wouldn't have worked with Prolog.
Right, exactly. No, I mean, I completely agree. I completely agree. Okay, so let's talk more specifically about what it's like to get out into industry after academia. So you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you went to England. So we're in Sweden now and you're from Sweden. And you went to England for, what, 1 year? Something like this?
7 months.
For 7 months, right? So working as a software developer?
Yeah.
Right. And like a small company or like a big company, or?
It's medium-sized, maybe.
And so what do you think are the things that you brought from university that were skills that you could bring into the industry? And what did you find lacking? Like, did you find yourself in industry thinking, oh, but why didn't university teach me this or this? And like these two, like the contrast between these two.
So, well, coming from a very broad university education, like information systems, you know,
Right, again, like the social science point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I felt like, you know, it's very useful to have a broad understanding of software engineering.
Right.
You know, for my specific job that I had, I'm happy that I had an understanding of all the different things in software development, like the methodologies, the you know, the database, the front end, the back end,
Yep.
and everything in between. So I'm very happy that I, you know, kind of felt like I had that understanding from the beginning.
So do you mean both like you get the software engineering part, but like because it's social science, you also get what some may deem like the more fluffy parts? Like
Exactly.
there was value in not only getting the rough technical parts, but like also getting the more soft parts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense in some way. I mean, there's also stuff that are, you know, for some jobs a bit too fluffy, that you're not going to be able to use. It depends on what you...
that are not necessarily operationalizable.
Yeah. So if you aim on doing programming, you're not going to be able to use all of the stuff in the information systems that you learn. Especially maybe not in the masters, because you know, like organizational behavior, it's very good, but
but like you're saying, it gets sort of too theoretical.
I think it's just good in general for any job, but it's not specifically good for programming. You won't be a better programmer because you learned about organizational behavior or about maybe HCI. I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff you find useful in your education, but there's also some stuff that you maybe won't find useful.
So if I'm getting you correctly, you're saying that it really matters what you are choosing as a topic. So like if you strictly know that you want to become a programmer, it might not make sense for you to read some of these, let's say, more theoretical courses in social science, for example.
For example, if you have the opportunity, if you know that you want to be a programmer, you have the opportunity to switch some of the courses. That might be a good idea. Because I'm not saying that they're not useful at all, but for the specific job that you're looking for, there might not be that useful. There might be other courses that are more useful for you. So I'm just saying that don't hesitate taking the opportunity to switch courses if you have the opportunity.
Right, okay, but that's a very good point. So you're saying like don't be afraid to break off the curriculum if you think that your idea about where you should go makes a lot of sense. Right? Like don't just follow the curriculum blindly. I mean, if you have to, you have to, but like if you have the opportunity, then break out of it if you think it makes sense. I think it's very good advice. It's a very good point. But do you think it was, from like a very pragmatical point of view, was it a waste of time, let's say, to read things that are too fluffy when you came out into industry? Was it detrimental? Was it a waste of time? Did it make you think in a bad way?
Do you mean thinking in retrospect about the stuff I've done? Was it painful to know that I've done stuff in vain, or?
Yeah, exactly like that. Exactly.
I don't think so. I think I'm very happy about my education. And I don't feel like anything that I've learned is not good knowledge. But maybe some courses I just maybe not think is the
like
best
most
quality
appropriate, or Okay. So it's not necessarily a question of whether it's not useful. It's more about whether it's more or less tailored to where you actually want to go. Right? Like more or less specific to where you actually want to go.
Exactly.
So that's a fair representation.
If I can just give an example.
Should.
In my bachelor we had a course in HCI, which was very fun, very useful. But then in my master's we had another pretty long course in HCI, which where we got to do like an experiment with a website, and it was okay. I mean, it was I suppose it gave something, but it just didn't, you know, catch my interest, and I didn't know why I did it, because that was not at all where I wanted to go.
Right. So in retrospect, you're saying this is one of these scenarios where actually you could have changed to another course instead that might have been more valuable. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, I think that sort of touches on a very important point, that even though we're talking about academia being like tailored towards your learning, it's still not at all perfect.
No.
Right? So like, it highly depends on what the big questions of sort of what you want to do with your life, right? Or like what you want to do with your career in some sense, where your interests actually lie.
But I also think that you should take the opportunity to try out the different phases in the development process, you know, like doing front end, doing some database stuff, doing even design stuff, doing back end, doing everything. Because first of all, you need to find out what's a good fit for you. Right. And also, it's awesome to be a full stack developer. Right. Like it gives you understanding, or like personally, I wouldn't want to be like just front-end developer or just back-end developer, because I like to have like a sense of what's going on. Not just doing one thing and relying on someone else to do something that I don't understand. Like, oh, they can do the magic. Right. You know, I think it's very good to have an understanding, the whole picture of what's going on, so you can understand, you know, so you don't just leave your code and then someone else like deploys it and you're like, oh, what's deployed? I don't know if is that like magic? The black magic of software. It's like so I think it's very good to have an understanding of everything. Because otherwise you're just, you know. No, but full stack makes a lot of sense, and at least then to sort of have tried all of the, or most of the different pieces of the stack, let's say. So let's try and wrap this up. Like a final question: if we talk about full stack, or if I generalize, it seems that you're saying that it's important to experiment with different parts of software development in order to realize what you actually like about software development and then specialize within that. Do you think that's something you should do before university, or do you think that that's something you should do at university, or like after university, or meanwhile, or all of them? I guess it depends on which university education you're going for. Good point. If you're going for computer science, you're not going to have the opportunity to do the fluffy stuff. But if you're going for information systems, you're going to have lots of opportunity to try out the different things in the development process. So if you're going for information systems, then you'll definitely have lots of opportunity. Otherwise, it's good to have tried it before you start your, for example, computer science education. So it's a mixture, maybe, right? Like, because if we're talking about full stack, then maybe some of the things, or some of the very concrete things, you won't get from university, regardless of whether it being computer science or physics or information systems or whatever. But some of the stuff you do get from the education. So maybe there's a mixture, or and like trying out the different pieces. Yeah, of course. You have to do both. You have to you have to do some stuff in your own time. Right. There's no getting away from that. You can't just go to school and do your work and then go home and play Xbox. You know? So you have to be passionate about it and try out stuff at home and see what's your thing. Good point. Okay, so I think those are some good final words. University is not a free card. It's excellent for trying out a lot of different things, and it's excellent for stimulating your knowledge and showing you perhaps the things that you maybe should be looking at, but it's in no way a free card. Like, you still have to fight on your own time. You still have to learn on your own time. Is that an accurate representation? That's very accurate. And as a university teacher, I know that it's very, very important to spend lots of your time, your free time, to study, and not just think that you can show up at the labs, the computer labs, and think. Don't lecture the students. Go. Okay. Yep. Kids. Don't try this at home. But and in final words, it seems like you're not in any way regretting that you did do university. No, I don't. Super. Okay. Thank you very much.
Superb. So we tried out this new format. If you appreciate this new format, be sure to hit us up in the comment box or hit the like button. Remember to subscribe, and perhaps you'll see more of Jakob again.